When I was 23, I took the quietest job I could find. Night clerk at an old roadside hotel everyone in town called the Hollow Pines. It used to be a decent place decades ago. Now most rooms were empty, the paint was peeling, and the neon sign either flickered weakly or went completely dark for hours. The owner, Mr. Harlan, only seemed interested in keeping the building alive enough that nobody came to shut it down. Right before my first night shift, he gave me 3 rules. He didn't smile, didn't joke. He just looked me straight in the eyes and said, "Rule number 1, never put anyone in room 217, even if we're full. Tell them the lock is broken. Rule number 2, if the elevator stops on the 2nd floor by itself after midnight, you stay at the front desk. You don't go check. Rule number 3, if someone comes to the lobby between 2 and 3 in the morning and asks for a room, you tell them we're closed. No matter what, don't look at their face too long. Just say we're closed." He said it the way some people talk about medication instructions. Calm, practiced like he'd repeated it many times before. I chuckled and asked if the place was haunted. He didn't laugh back. "You want the job or not?" he asked. I said yes. The first nights were boring, almost peaceful. I learned the routine. Check the cameras, walk the halls once an hour, keep coffee warm for the occasional trucker. Most guests stayed 1 night, at most 2. No one asked questions about the building, and no one mentioned anything strange. I tried to forget the rules, but they sat in the back of my mind like a splinter. One Thursday night, around 1:40 a.m., the weather turned ugly. Heavy rain beat against the windows, and the highway outside was almost empty. I'd been reading the same line in the guest log for 5 minutes when something thumped softly above me, like a heavy suitcase dropped in an empty room. I checked the cameras. All the hallways were empty. Only one thing bothered me: the elevator. Its little green indicator showed it was on the 2nd floor. The doors were closed. I hadn't called it, and no one had used it in hours. I watched it for a while, waiting for it to move. Didn't. Rule number 2 slid back into my mind like a cold knife. If the elevator stops on the 2nd floor by itself after midnight, you stay at the desk. So I stayed. I turned off the elevator camera feed and tried to focus on paperwork. The silence in the lobby felt thicker than usual, like the air itself was waiting for something. At 2:07 a.m., the lobby door opened. Nobody knocked. Nobody rang the bell. The handle just turned, slowly, and the door swung inward on its own. A man stepped inside. He was tall and thin, wearing a long dark coat soaked with rain. His hat was pulled low over his face, and for a moment I couldn't see his eyes at all. Water dripped steadily onto the lobby floor around his boots. He walked up to the desk with a slow, steady pace. "Good evening," he said. His voice was calm and very quiet. "I need a room for the night." My stomach tightened. I glanced at the clock behind him. 2:07. Between 2 and 3. "We're closed for the night," I said. My voice came out thinner than I wanted. "Sorry, sir. No more check-ins." He didn't move or speak for several seconds. He just stood there in the weak yellow light, rainwater pooling slowly at his feet. "Are you sure?" he asked finally. "I won't cause any trouble. I just need a place to rest before dawn." I tried not to look at his face, but curiosity is a hard habit to kill. I let my eyes drift a little higher. He had eyes. They just weren't looking at me. His pupils felt wrong. Flat and dark, not catching the light at all, like 2 pieces of glass painted black. I had the horrible impression that he was looking through me, at something much farther away. "I'm sorry," I repeated. "We're closed." He exhaled slowly. With that breath came a smell that had no business being in a hotel lobby. The heavy, sour scent of standing water and damp concrete, like an old basement that had been flooded for years. It rolled over the desk in a wave, thick and cold. "A shame," he said. "I always liked this place." He turned toward the door. The motion looked slightly wrong, as if his body moved first and his coat and shadow followed a fraction of a second later. The lobby door opened before he reached it. I didn't hear the latch click or the hinges creak. He stepped out into the rain. The door closed gently behind him. I stood there for a long time, staring at the empty glass. My heart finally began to slow down. I tried to convince myself he was just a weird guy who smelled like mold and rainwater. At 2:19, the old wall phone behind me began to ring. It was a relic from another decade, mounted behind the desk. Most days it was dead. No dial tone, no incoming calls, just a piece of the building nobody bothered to fix. Now it rang, quiet but clear. I looked at it for several seconds, hoping it would stop. Didn't. I picked up the receiver. At first I heard nothing, then breathing. Slow, steady, like someone standing very close to the phone, listening carefully. "Hello," I said. "Hollow Pines Hotel. Who's calling?" The breathing continued. No words. I almost hung up, thinking it was some kind of crossed line, when a voice spoke. "You did the right thing." Same voice. Calm. Too calm. But now it sounded closer, almost inside my ear. "He always tries to come back to his room." The voice went on. "Don't let him in." I swallowed. "Who is he?" I asked. "What room?" There was a pause on the line. I imagined someone standing in a dark hallway, turning slowly to look at a door. 217, the voice said. The line went dead so fast it made my ear ring. I stayed there with the receiver in my hand, listening to the empty static that wasn't even real static, just silence. Then I remembered the cameras. I turned back to the monitor and switched through the feeds until I reached the elevator. The doors on the second floor were open. The cab was empty, except for a single dark footprint on the floor. Wet, fresh, like someone had stepped inside dripping with rainwater and then vanished. I locked the lobby door. For the rest of the shift, I didn't leave the front desk. The rain slowly faded into a light drizzle. The neon sign outside flickered on and off at random. Nothing else happened. At 5:50 a.m., just before dawn, the elevator moved. No one called it. It slid down to the first floor, doors opening with a soft sigh. The cabin was clean. The footprint was gone. I finished my shift feeling like I hadn't slept in a week. In the morning, when Harlan came in, I told him everything. I expected him to laugh or tell me I'd scared myself because of the rules. He didn't laugh. He listened without interrupting, then reached into the drawer under the desk and pulled out an old key on a tarnished metal tag. The number stamped into the brass was 217. "When I bought this place," he said quietly, "there was a regular guest, businessman, always asked for the same room, 217, only ever checked in at night, always left before sunrise." He turned the key over between his fingers. The metal clicked softly. One morning we went to clean the room, and he hadn't checked out. The door was locked from the inside. No one had gone in or out. Cameras showed nothing, but the shower was running, and his suitcase was open on the bed. "And him?" I asked. Harlan looked past me, toward the hallway that led to the rooms. "Never found," he said. "Not in the hotel, not in town, not anywhere." He set the key down on the desk between us. After that, the night clerk started hearing the elevator move by itself. He went on. Guests on the second floor complained about footsteps outside their doors. Sometimes someone would come to the lobby between 2 and 3, asking for a room. Tall, wet from the rain, always insisting it was just for a few hours. I stared at the key. The metal was worn smooth in places where fingers had held it many times. Around the numbers, faint rust-colored stains had settled into the grooves. "What happens if someone gives him the room?" I asked. Harlan's jaw tightened. "The guest list shows the check-in," he said. "Security cameras show the clerk handing over the key. After that, nothing. In the morning, we find the clerk's car still in the parking lot. But the clerk..." He didn't finish the sentence. He didn't have to. "So what do I do if he comes back?" I asked. Harlan finally met my eyes. "You already did it," he said. "You told him we were closed." He picked up the key to room 217 and slipped it into a small box in the drawer. This time, I noticed that the box had a lock on it. When he turned the key, the sound was louder than it should have been. "If you see the elevator on the second floor at night," he added, "you leave it alone. If you smell damp concrete or flooded basements and there's no reason for it, you stay by the desk." And if someone walks in between 2 and 3 asking for a room, I tell them we're closed. I finished. He nodded. Exactly. I stayed at Hollow Pines for 3 more months. Sometimes, late at night, the elevator would stop on the second floor without being called. Sometimes I would walk the first floor hallway and feel a pocket of air that was colder and wetter than it should have been, like standing at the entrance of an underground tunnel. And twice more, between 2 and 3 in the morning, the lobby door opened without a sound. A tall man in a dark coat stepped inside. Both times I did exactly what I'd been told. "We're closed," I said. "No more rooms." Both times he stood there just a little too long. Both times I could feel his eyes not quite meeting mine. Both times he left without a word. I still don't know if the voice on the phone was trying to help me, or just making sure room 217 stays empty until he finally finds someone who says, "Yes."